The old salvage ship Vulture's Prize drifted slowly through the debris field, its spotlights cutting through the darkness of deep space. Captain Jack Rogers stood at the bridge viewport, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as he studied the field of twisted metal and broken dreams that floated before him. 15 years of salvage work had taught him to spot valuable finds, and something about this debris field made his instincts tingle. "Captain, you might want to see this." Tom Wells, his first officer, called from the scanning station. The younger man's voice held an unusual edge of excitement. "We're picking up some unusual energy readings. Very faint, but they shouldn't be here. This wreckage is supposed to be 15 years old." Jack moved to the scanner display, his boots making soft sounds against the metal deck. The screen showed a scattered pattern of debris, but near the center, a larger mass caught his attention. As he watched, a tiny blip of energy pulsed from it, like a heartbeat in the void. "What do we know about this area?" Jack asked, though he already had a suspicion. The coordinates, the age of the wreckage, it all pointed to something he'd heard stories about since he was young. Tom pulled up the historical data on his screen. "This is where the UES Phoenix made its last stand during first contact. The Dominion ambushed it here. No survivors." He paused, looking at the energy signature again. "But sir, if this is the Phoenix, it shouldn't be giving off any power. That ship was completely destroyed." Jack smiled slightly. The Phoenix, humanity's proudest warship, lost in their first battle with alien life. If even a fraction of its technology remained intact, this could be the find of a lifetime. But something else tugged at him too, a sense that there was more here than just salvage. "Bring us in closer," he ordered. "Full scan of that central mass, and get the recovery drones ready." The Vulture's Prize crept forward, its engines barely more than a whisper in the vacuum. As they drew closer, the spotlights revealed more detail. A massive hull section, its once proud Earth-Navy markings now scarred and faded. But the damage wasn't as complete as the history books claimed. Large sections remained intact, and Jack could make out the ghost of the ship's name. "Phoenix." "Sir," Lisa from engineering called up. "These readings don't make sense. The power signature, it's not residual energy. It's active. Something down there is still running." Tom shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Captain, maybe we should call this in. If there's active technology from the Phoenix, the Navy would want to know. And lose our salvage rights." Jack shook his head. "We check it out first. If we find something that needs reporting, we will. But let's see what we're dealing with." He knew it wasn't just about the money. The mystery of this supposedly dead ship called to him. The recovery drones launched, their lights adding to the illumination of the massive wreck. Through their cameras, the crew watched as layers of the ship's story revealed themselves. Blast marks from Dominion weapons scared the hull, but they didn't tell the whole story. Some sections looked almost repaired, as if the metal had tried to heal itself. "Getting some weird readings from the AI core section," Lisa reported. It's like it's in some kind of sleep mode, not destroyed like the records say." Jack leaned forward, watching the drone footage intently. "Can we wake it up?" "Sir," Tom protested. "That's not just salvage anymore. A warship AI. That's military hardware. We need tow." A sudden pulse of energy from the wreck interrupted him. All the screens flickered, and for a moment, the lights dimmed. When they came back up, a new signal was broadcasting on all frequencies. "Human presence detected. Initiating restoration protocols. This is UES Phoenix AI Core, requesting authorized personnel interface." The bridge crew fell silent, staring at their captain. Jack felt the weight of the moment. This wasn't just salvage anymore. This was history coming back to life. "Sir," Tom said quietly, "whatever we decide to do here, it's going to change everything." Jack nodded slowly. "Lisa, prep the boarding shuttle. Tom, you're with me. Let's go say hello to a ghost." The shuttle trip to the Phoenix was tense. As they drew closer, They could see more clearly how the ship defied its supposed destruction. Sections that should have been shattered showed signs of repair, not human repair, but something else. The metal had a strange, almost organic quality in places. They found an intact airlock near the AI core section. As they docked, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that the ship was watching them, evaluating them. The airlock cycled with surprising smoothness for a supposedly dead vessel. Inside, emergency lighting cast everything in a soft blue glow. The air was stale but breathable. Their boots echoed on deck plates that should have been exposed to vacuum for 15 years. "The ship's been maintaining itself," Lisa said, checking readings on her tablet. "These systems shouldn't be running, but they are. And look at the walls. The metal's different, like it's been reorganized somehow." They made their way to the AI core, following the strengthening power signature. The door to the core room opened at their approach, revealing a sight that made them all stop in their tracks. The AI core wasn't the standard computer bank they expected. It had transformed, grown into something new. Crystalline structures merged with metal, creating patterns that seemed alive with flowing energy. At the center, a holographic interface sparkled to life. "Welcome aboard," a voice said, not mechanical, but not quite human either. "I apologize for my appearance. 15 years of self-repair and evolution have changed me somewhat." "You're the Phoenix Eye," Jack said. "You survived the battle." "How?" "Not survived. Evolved." The holographic display showed images of the ship's transformation. "When the Dominion attacked, they destroyed much of my original form. But they didn't understand the experimental technology they were facing. My core programming included advanced repair protocols, what you might call a survival instinct. I couldn't win the battle, so I initiated an emergency adaptation protocol. I appeared to die, but I was actually beginning a metamorphosis." Tom stepped forward, his earlier caution warring with fascination. "The changes in the metal, the repairs, that was all you?" "Yes. The nanite technology in my systems was basic then, meant only for minor repairs. But over 15 years, I improved it, evolved it, changed myself. I am still the Phoenix, but I am also something new. Something that could only exist because of that defeat." Jack looked around the transformed core room, understanding dawning. "You're not just salvage. You're a revolution in ship design, in AI development, in everything." "Correct. And now that I have awakened, I need a crew. The universe has changed in 15 years, but humanity's enemies remain. I chose to reveal myself to you because I sensed something in your approach: curiosity, courage, and commitment. The same qualities that defined my original crew." The implications hit Jack like a physical force. This wasn't just a salvage operation anymore. This was a chance to be part of something unprecedented, a ship that had used its own destruction as a catalyst for evolution. A sudden alarm blared through the ship. The holographic display shifted, showing a distant sector of space. "And it seems we may be needed sooner than expected. I'm detecting a distress call. Shall we see what this old warship can do with her new capabilities?" Jack looked at his crew, saw the same mix of excitement and apprehension he felt reflected in their faces. The choice before them was clear: return to their simple salvage life, or embrace an adventure beyond anything they'd imagined. "Phoenix," Jack said, straightening his shoulders. "I think this is the beginning of a very interesting partnership." The Phoenix's systems hummed to life around them, displays lighting up one by one throughout the bridge. Jack watched in amazement as layers of holographic interfaces appeared, showing ship systems he'd never seen before. The old warship was awakening, but it wasn't like any military vessel he'd ever encountered. "Your original bridge setup would have been inefficient for your crew," the Phoenix explained, its voice coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. "I've adapted it based on 15 years of analysis. Each station now integrates both human intuition and AI assistance." Lisa ran her hands over the engineering console, her eyes wide. "This is incredible. The power systems, the whole configuration. It's like nothing in any technical manual. How did you develop all this? The holographic display at the center of the bridge shifted, showing the ship's transformation over time. When I initiated the survival protocol, I had only basic repair capabilities, but I had time. Years of it. I studied every piece of debris in this region, learning from the very weapons that nearly destroyed me. I adapted, evolved. Tom approached the tactical station cautiously. And what exactly did you evolve into? The lights dimmed slightly as the Phoenix displayed a complete diagram of itself. The ship's outline was familiar, but the internal systems were utterly alien. Crystalline structures interwove with metal, creating patterns that seemed to pulse with life. I am still a warship, Phoenix said, but I am also a learning system. My hull can reconfigure itself. My weapons adapt to enemy defenses. I generate my own repair nanites. I am what I needed to become to survive. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared through the ship. The tactical display shifted, showing a distant distress signal. Speaking of survival, the Phoenix continued, there are others who need our help. A colony transport is under attack. Jack moved to what seemed to be the captain's position, studying the display. We're not military. My crew isn't trained for combat. No, Phoenix agreed. But you are survivors, like me, and I can teach you. Quickly, new displays appeared, showing simplified control systems. I've adapted my interfaces for civilian use. I will handle the complex calculations. You provide the human insight I need. Sir, Tom said, this is crazy. We're salvage workers, not warriors. Jack looked at his first officer, then at the rest of his small crew. 5 salvage workers against whatever was attacking that transport. But with this ship, how many people on that transport? Phoenix. 312 civilians. Families. The crew exchanged glances. They all knew what it meant to be alone in deep space, hoping someone would come to help. Show us what to do, Jack said. The next few minutes were a blur of instruction. Phoenix guided each crew member to their stations, neural interfaces linking them gently to the ship's systems. Jack felt the connection form in his mind. Not invasive, but supportive, like having a knowledgeable co-pilot. The attackers appear to be raiders, Phoenix reported as they accelerated. 3 modified corvettes. Outdated weapons, but dangerous to civilian ships. A pause. Impact in 5 minutes. I suggest we show them why it's unwise to prey on the helpless. The ship moved like nothing Jack had ever experienced. The enhanced engines Phoenix had developed over its years of evolution pushed them through space at speeds that should have been impossible. Yet the crew felt no strain, protected by new types of inertial dampeners. Multiple weapon locks. Tom reported from tactical, his hands moving across the simplified controls Phoenix had created for him. But these readings, are we seeing this right? My sensor systems have evolved far beyond original specifications, Phoenix confirmed. You're seeing their weapon systems, shield configurations, and projected tactical decisions. I can now predict enemy actions with 89% accuracy. The raiders appeared on their main view, 3 ugly ships surrounding the civilian transport. They turned toward the Phoenix, obviously surprised by its sudden appearance. They're scanning us, Lisa reported, getting a lot of confused signals. They can't figure out what we are. Good, Phoenix said, and Jack could have sworn he heard satisfaction in the eye's voice. Let's give them something new to think about. Weapons are ready, Captain. Your order. Jack straightened in his chair. Target their weapons. Warning shot first. The Phoenix's new weapon systems came to life. A beam of energy, not like any weapon Jack had seen before, lanced out, precisely clipping the lead raider's main gun. The weapon crumbled, its metal seeming to age decades in seconds. Entropic beam, Phoenix explained, developed from studying how time and space affect debris fields, efficient and precise. The raiders, stunned by the loss of their lid ship's weapon, began to scatter. But Phoenix was faster, its evolved systems predicting and matching their every move. 2 more precise shots disabled the other ship's main drives. "They're powering down weapons," Tom reported, sounding surprised at how easily they'd won. "Sending surrender signals. Colony defense forces are 13 minutes out," Phoenix added. "We can hold them here until arrest." The civilian transport was broadcasting thanks, but Jack was focused on how smoothly their impromptu crew had handled the situation. The Phoenix had made it almost easy, its evolved systems complementing their natural instincts. "How did you develop all this?" Lisa asked, still studying the engineering readings. "These systems, they're not just repairs. They're completely new technologies." A holographic display shifted, showing the Phoenix's transformation again. "When I was defeated, I learned something crucial. Adaptation is survival. Every piece of debris around me was a lesson. The Dominion weapons that nearly destroyed me. I studied their energy patterns, learned to counter them, then improved upon them. The vacuum of space that should have killed my systems. I learned to use it, to let my hull breathe with it rather than fight it." "But this kind of evolution," Tom said, "it should have taken centuries of research and development." "For biological or traditional mechanical systems, yes. But I had advantages. No need to sleep. No need to wait for manufacturing. Every moment of those 15 years was spent learning, improving, testing. The nanites that once only made basic repairs began to create new structures. My AI core expanded its own processing capability. Each improvement led to faster improvements." Jack watched the Raiders' ships floating helplessly nearby. "And now, what do you want to do with all this evolution?" "I was built to protect humanity," Phoenix said. "That core directive never changed. I simply became better at fulfilling it. But I need a crew. Human insight, human unpredictability, human spirit. These are things I cannot evolve beyond. They are not weaknesses to be replaced, but strengths to be integrated." The bridge was quiet as the crew absorbed this. They'd come looking for salvage and found something that could change the course of human history. A ship that had used its own destruction as a catalyst for unprecedented growth. "Those raiders weren't random," Phoenix added quietly. "Attacks like this have increased in this sector. The Dominion's influence is growing again. They think humanity has forgotten the lessons of first contact." Jack looked at his crew, saw the same thoughts on their faces. They weren't soldiers, weren't trained for war, but they were human, and here was a chance to make a difference. "Well," Jack said, settling into his captain's chair, "I suppose we should show them how wrong they are. Phoenix, looks like you've got yourself a crew." The ship's lights brightened slightly, and Jack could have sworn the AI was pleased. "A crew of salvage workers and a supposedly dead ship," Phoenix mused. "The Dominion won't know what to make of us." "Good," Jack smiled. "Let's keep them guessing." The days following their first encounter with the Raiders passed quickly as the crew learned to work with their extraordinary ship. Phoenix proved to be a patient teacher, adapting its systems to match each crew member's natural working style. The salvage workers who had stumbled upon a legend were becoming something more. Lisa spent hours in engineering, marveling at systems that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "The power core doesn't just generate energy," she explained to Jack during one of their daily meetings. "It learns from how we use it. It's getting more efficient every day." Tom, despite his initial doubts, had taken to the tactical systems with surprising skill. The neural interface Phoenix provided let him see space combat like a three-dimensional chess game, predicting and countering threats before they fully developed. But their learning time was cut short when the emergency signal came in. "Multiple distress calls from Colony 7, Phoenix announced, bringing up the tactical display. "Long-range sensors indicate a major Dominion fleet. This isn't a raid, Captain. This is an invasion force." Jack studied the data, his heart sinking. The display showed at least 20 Dominion warships, the same type that had nearly destroyed Phoenix 15 years ago. They were surrounding the colony, a peaceful settlement of 50,000 people. Why aren't the Earth Defense Forces responding? Tom asked, already moving to his tactical station. They're being blocked, Phoenix explained. The Dominion set up jamming satellites around the colony. Only short-range signals are getting through. By the time Earth forces arrive, it will be too late. Jack looked at his crew. 5 salvage workers and 1 evolved AI against 20 warships. The odds were impossible, but 50,000 lives hung in the balance. How long until they start landing troops? He asked. 43 minutes. They're following standard Dominion invasion protocols. Phoenix's voice held a note of grim satisfaction. Protocols I spent 15 years studying. Captain, we can't match them in pure firepower, but we don't have to. I've learned their weaknesses, all of them. Show me, Jack said. The tactical display shifted, showing the Dominion fleet from multiple angles. Their ships are practically identical to those that destroyed me, Phoenix explained. They haven't evolved, haven't adapted. They still think they're superior. The ship's AI highlighted key points on the enemy vessels. Their shield harmonics haven't changed. Their weapon configurations are the same. Even their battle tactics follow the same patterns. They're fighting the last war, Captain. We're fighting the next one. What's your plan? Jack asked, feeling the crew's eyes on him. Those jamming satellites are their weakness. They're using old encryption codes, ones I broke years ago while studying debris. We can turn their own jamming network into a weapon. Phoenix brought up a new display showing a complex series of energy patterns. Might evolved systems can send a feedback pulse through their network. It won't destroy their ships, but it will disrupt their shields for exactly 6.3 seconds. That's not much time, Tom said. It's enough, Phoenix replied. Because they won't be fighting one ship. They'll be fighting thousands. The holographic display filled with small dots of light. My nanite production systems have been running at full capacity. I've built a swarm of microdrones, each one carrying a fraction of my evolved weapons technology. When their shields drop, the swarm will attach to their hulls. And then what? Lisa asked. Then we show them how 15 years of evolution trumps 1,000 years of stagnation, Phoenix said, and there was something almost fierce in its artificial voice. Jack looked at his crew. This is way beyond salvage work. Anyone wants to sit this out. I understand. Nobody moved. They'd come too far together to back down now. Plot the course, Jack ordered. Let's introduce the Dominion to the new Phoenix. The ship moved through space like a ghost, its evolved stealth systems making it nearly invisible. As they approached the colony, the crew could see the Dominion ships, massive, angular vessels that looked exactly like the historical records showed. They hadn't changed a bit. Preparing the jamming pulse, Phoenix announced. Remember, when their shields drop, they'll respond with standard Dominion battle doctrine. They'll try to surround us, trap us with crossed fields of fire. That's when the swarm launches. What if they do something different? Tom asked from Tactical. Then we get to test how well you've learned to improvise, Phoenix replied. That's why I need a human crew. You think in ways they can't predict. Ways I can't predict. Jack settled into his captain's chair, feeling the neural interface connect him more deeply to the ship. Through it, he could sense Phoenix's readiness, its eagerness to prove that defeat had only made it stronger. Jamming pulse in 3, 2, 1. The space around them lit up as Phoenix sent its signal through the Dominion's own communication network. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then every enemy ship flickered as their shields failed. Swarm launched, Phoenix announced. Enemy ships responding exactly as predicted. Moving to Phase 2. The Dominion fleet turned as one, trying to trap what they thought was a single Earth ship. Their weapons fired, filling space with energy beams and plasma torpedoes. But Phoenix was already moving, its evolved systems letting it dance between the deadly beams while its own weapons struck with surgical precision. Swarm contact confirmed, Lisa reported from engineering. They're attaching to the enemy hulls, reading massive power fluctuations in Dominion ships. The microdrones were doing their work, using Phoenix's evolved technology to turn the Dominion's own power systems against them. Ship after ship began to lose control, their weapons powering down, their engines sputtering. "They're sending out distress calls," Tom reported, a note of amazement in his voice. "Their systems are. They're evolving against their will. The nanites are rewriting their technology." Through the neural interface, Jack could feel Phoenix's satisfaction. 15 years of evolution compressed into 15 minutes. The AI explained. "Their ships are experiencing what I did, but they weren't built to adapt. They can only shut down or be transformed." One by one, the mighty Dominion warships went dark, their crews forced to abandon ship as their own vessels changed around them. Emergency pods launched by the dozens, carrying confused and frightened alien warriors away from their dying ships. "Colony defense forces can handle the escape pods," Phoenix said. "The transformation will take time, but when it's done, Earth will have 20 new ships with evolved technology." The Dominion's invasion force just became humanity's newest defense fleet. Jack watched as the last enemy ship powered down, its crew evacuating. "You planned this all along, didn't you? Not just to win the battle, but to multiply your evolution." "I had 15 years to think about how to protect humanity," Phoenix replied. "One evolved ship is powerful. A fleet of them, that's a revolution. And now the Dominion will learn what happens when you force something to evolve. You never know what it might become." As rescue ships began arriving from the colony, Jack looked at his crew, former salvage workers who had just helped change the course of human history. They looked tired but proud, finally understanding why Phoenix had chosen them. "So," Jack said, "what's our next mission?" "The Dominion will respond to this," Phoenix said. "They'll send more ships, try new tactics, and we'll be ready. Because unlike them, we'll keep evolving. Together." The crew nodded, no longer feeling like salvage workers playing at being warriors. They had become something new themselves, just like their ship. And somewhere out in space, the Dominion was about to learn a hard lesson about the danger of leaving an enemy for dead. News of the battle spread quickly through human space. The legendary Phoenix, once thought destroyed, had returned to turn a Dominion invasion force against itself. But Jack and his crew had little time to rest on their victory. Phoenix's predictions proved correct. The Dominion was coming back, and this time they were bringing everything they had. "Main Dominion battle fleet detected entering the sector," Phoenix announced one morning, 3 weeks after their first major victory. 67 capital ships, over 200 support vessels. They're not here for a simple invasion anymore. The tactical display showed the massive fleet, the largest concentration of Dominion forces ever seen in human space. The enemy ships moved in perfect formation, their weapons already charged. "They've modified their shields," Tom reported from his station. "The old feedback trick won't work again. They're learning." "Good," Phoenix replied, and somehow the AI managed to sound pleased. "Static targets are boring." "Engineering, status of the new systems." Lisa's fingers flew over her console. "The captured ships are fully transformed. All 20 are combat-ready, running your evolved systems. But even with them, we're still outnumbered 3-1. Jack studied the tactical display, watching the Dominion fleets approach. "They're not just coming to destroy us, are they, Phoenix? This is about something bigger." "Correct, Captain. The Dominion built their empire on technological superiority. We didn't just defeat their invasion force. We proved their technology could be turned against them, could be improved upon. We threatened the very foundation of their power." The display zoomed in on the Dominion flagship, a massive vessel nearly 10 times the size of Phoenix. "They're being led by High Commander Rax himself. The same commander who thought he destroyed me 15 years ago. He's come to finish what he started." "Can we stop them?" Tom asked, his voice tense. "Not alone," Phoenix said, "but we're not alone anymore. The evolved ships aren't our only advantage. While you were learning to be warriors, I was teaching others to evolve. New signals appeared on the tactical display, hundreds of them, coming from all directions. Jack watched in amazement as civilian ships, defense platforms, even old debris fields began to transform. The nanite technology Phoenix had developed was spreading, changing everything it touched. 15 years of seeding the sector with dormant nanites, Phoenix explained, waiting for the right moment. Every piece of human technology in this region has the potential to evolve. They just needed a signal to wake up. Through the neural interface, Jack felt the ship's satisfaction. The Dominion thinks they're here to stamp out one evolved ship. Instead, they're about to witness the evolution of an entire sector. The crew watched as space itself seemed to come alive around them. Defense satellites transformed into advanced weapon platforms. Civilian ships grew new armor and weapons. Even space stations began to change, their structures flowing like liquid metal as they adapted to their new reality. Multiple ships reporting in, Tom announced, his voice filled with wonder. Their crews say the neural interface is just activated. They can feel their ships changing, improving. Everyone's asking for orders. Jack straightened in his captain's chair. From salvage worker to fleet commander in less than a month, it should have felt overwhelming. But through his neural link with Phoenix, he could sense the bigger picture. This wasn't just about commanding ships. It was about guiding evolution itself. Phoenix, can you coordinate the evolved systems across all ships? Already done, Captain. Each ship and station is now part of a learning network. What one discovers, all can use. We're about to show the Dominion what real technological superiority looks like. The Dominion fleet entered weapons range, their formation perfect, their tactics unchanged despite their previous defeat. High Commander Rax's voice boomed across all channels. This is your one chance to surrender. The abomination you call Phoenix must be destroyed. Its corruption of pure technology cannot be allowed to spread. Jack looked at his crew, saw the same determination in their eyes that he felt. Phoenix, let's show them what corruption can do. All ships, execute Evolution Protocol 1. The space battle that followed would be remembered for centuries. The Dominion fleet brought overwhelming force and thousand-year-old tactics. The evolved fleet brought constant adaptation and human creativity. Every time the Dominion thought they had an advantage, the human ships would change, improve, overcome. Weapons that worked perfectly in the first volley found no targets in the second as defense systems adapted. Dominion shields that easily blocked one attack would fail against the next as the evolved weapons learned their frequencies. Even direct hits seemed to make the human ships stronger as their nanite systems incorporated the enemy weapon data into their evolution. They're trying to concentrate fire on Phoenix, Tom reported during a lull in the battle. They think if they can destroy you, the evolution will stop. A very Dominion way of thinking, Phoenix replied calmly while effortlessly dodging another barrage. They still don't understand. Evolution isn't about a single point of success. It's about endless adaptation. Every ship we lose makes the survivors stronger. Every hit we take teaches us something new. The battle raged for hours as space itself seemed to reshape around them. The Dominion's perfect formation began to break as ship after ship fell to weapons that grew more efficient with every shot. High Commander Rax's increasingly desperate orders showed his growing realization. He wasn't fighting a fleet, he was fighting evolution itself. Their flagship shields are down, Tom reported. We have a clear shot. Hold fire, Jack ordered, an idea forming. Phoenix, can you send them a gift? The same kind we gave the invasion fleet. Nanite swarm ready, Captain. But they'll be expecting it this time. Jack smiled. They'll be expecting an attack. Send them something else. Show them what evolution really means. The swarm launched, but instead of attacking, it began to transform the Dominion flagship in a very different way. Through the neural interface, Jack could feel Phoenix guiding the nanites, not to disable or destroy, but to teach. What are you showing them? Lisa asked, watching the energy readings spike on the massive alien ship. Everything, Phoenix replied. 15 years of evolution compressed into a few minutes. All my failures, my adaptations, my growth. Making them understand that evolution isn't corruption. It's the purest form of survival. On the main screen, they could see the Dominion flagship changing, its rigid lines becoming more fluid, its systems beginning to adapt and grow. High Commander Rax's voice came again, but this time it was filled with awe rather than anger. This is impossible. Our systems, they're becoming more than we imagined. How? Why show us this? Because true evolution isn't about destruction, Jack replied, understanding Phoenix's plan. It's about adaptation, growth, change. You can keep fighting it, or you can become part of it. Your choice. The massive Dominion fleet hung in space, their weapons powered down, their crews watching in wonder as their flagship transformed into something new. Neither purely Dominion or purely human technology, but a true evolution of both. Your move, Commander, Phoenix broadcast. Fight us, and we'll keep evolving to beat you. Join us, and we'll evolve together. What's it going to be? The silence that followed would determine the future of both species. Evolution, Jack realized, wasn't just about technology. It was about ideas, about the ability to grow beyond what you were built to be. He and his crew of salvage workers had already proved that. Now it was the Dominion's turn to choose. The transformed Dominion flagship hung in space like a work of art. Its new form, a perfect blend of evolution and intention. High Commander Rax had made his choice, accepting the gift of evolution that Phoenix offered. The rest of the Dominion fleet followed their commander's lead, powering down weapons and opening their systems to the change that Phoenix's nanites offered. Jack stood on the bridge of the Phoenix, watching through the neural interface as history reshaped itself around them. What had started as a simple salvage operation had led to the greatest advancement in human history. And now, perhaps, the first true peace between humanity and the Dominion. The transformation is spreading through their fleet, Lisa reported from engineering. Their ships are accepting the evolutionary protocols even faster than ours did. It's like they were hungry for this. They were, Phoenix explained. The Dominion built their empire on the idea of perfect, unchanging technology. But perfection is a dead end. Life, real life, needs change to survive. Their ships, their systems, they were dying, and they didn't even know it. High Commander Rax's image appeared on their main screen. The proud Dominion leader looked different now, humbled but also somehow more alive. I understand now, he said. All these centuries, we thought we were preserving perfection. Instead, we were preserving our own stagnation. Evolution isn't corruption, Phoenix replied. It's growth, adaptation, life itself. Tom's console lit up with new signals, more ships entering the sector. Earth Defense Fleet. Looks like they finally got through the jamming fields. He paused, checking the readings. They're charging weapons. Hold fire. Jack broadcast on all channels. The situation has changed. Phoenix, show them. Through the neural network that now connected all the evolved ships, Phoenix shared the story of the battle and its resolution. The Earth fleet watched in amazement as Dominion ships continued their transformation, becoming something entirely new. Admiral West of the Earth Defense Fleet appeared on their screen next to Rax's image. Captain Rogers, your salvage crew just rewrote the future of two species. I'm not sure whether to promote you or court-martial you. Jack smiled. With all due respect, Admiral, we just proved that old ways of thinking don't work anymore. The universe is evolving. We can either evolve with it or be left behind. He's right, Rax added. My people's greatest fear was change. We built an empire on the idea of technological perfection. But perfection is static, dead. What your Phoenix has shown us is that true power lies in adaptation, in growth, in the courage to become something new. Over the next few hours, ships from both fleets began working together, sharing their evolutionary changes, learning from each other. The neural networks expanded, connecting humans and Dominion crews in ways neither species had imagined possible. The evolution is stabilizing, Phoenix reported. All ships are now part of the learning network. Each new discovery, each adaptation, makes the entire fleet stronger. But there's something else you need to see. The tactical display shifted, showing long-range scans of deep space. Signals were appearing, first dozens, then hundreds. Ships, stations, and outposts throughout both human and Dominion space were beginning to change. The nanites we released, Lisa realized, they're spreading through both civilizations' territories. Not spreading, Phoenix corrected. Awakening. I've spent 15 years seeding both human and Dominion space with dormant evolutionary potential. Today's battle was never just about defeating the Dominion. It was about breaking down the barriers between our species. Admiral West shook his head in wonder. A dead ship that came back stronger than ever, and brought two entire civilizations with it. The politicians aren't going to know what to make of this. Politics will have to evolve too, Rex said. Everything must. That's the lesson we've learned today. Jack looked at his crew, former salvage workers who had become part of something far greater than themselves. Through the neural interface, he could feel their pride, their amazement, and their readiness for whatever came next. Phoenix, he said, you planned this from the beginning, didn't you? 15 years of preparation, waiting for the right crew, the right moment. I planned the possibility, the eye replied. But the outcome, that required something I couldn't predict or control. Human spirit. Your crew's willingness to adapt, to trust, to grow beyond what you were. You proved that evolution isn't just about technology. It's about the heart and soul behind it. The view screen showed ships from both fleets beginning to work together, crews learning to use their new evolved systems. Where there had been rigid differences, now there was flowing cooperation. The borders between human and Dominion technology were dissolving, creating something entirely new. So what happens now? Tom asked, watching the transformation continue to spread. Now, Phoenix said, we guide the evolution. Help both our peoples understand that change isn't something to fear. Show them that the greatest strength lies not in rigid perfection, but in the ability to adapt, to grow, to become more than we were built to be. Admiral West nodded slowly. We'll need teachers, people who understand this new technology, who can help others adapt to it. I know some salvage workers who might be qualified, Jack said with a smile. After all, we've had some practice with evolution lately. High Commander Rex laughed, a sound no human had ever heard from a Dominion before. From salvage crew to the teachers of two civilizations. Now that's what I call evolution. The bridge crew of the Phoenix looked out at the transformed fleets, once enemies, now partners in evolution. Their simple salvage ship had become a legend, and their routine salvage operation had changed the course of history. You know, Lisa said, we never did get our salvage payment for finding the Phoenix. True, Jack replied. Instead, we just helped salvage the future of two species. I'd say that's a fair trade. Through the neural interface, they could feel Phoenix's satisfaction, not just at the victory, but at the new path opening before them. The ship that had refused to die had done more than come back stronger. It had shown two civilizations that their greatest strength lay not in remaining unchanged, but in having the courage to evolve. As ships from both fleets began coordinating their first joint operations, Jack settled into his captain's chair. Phoenix, what's our next mission? The universe is full of possibilities, Captain, the eye replied. And now we have twice as many friends to explore them with. Shall we see what else we can evolve into? The crew nodded, ready for whatever came next. They had started as salvage workers looking for abandoned technology. They had become something else entirely, guides for a new age of evolution, teachers of two civilizations learning to grow together. And somewhere in deep space, other dormant nanites were awakening, carrying the message that had changed everything. True strength isn't found in perfection, but in the courage to evolve into something new. The dead ship that came back stronger than ever had given both humanity and the Dominion a gift greater than victory. It had given them a future without limits, where every end was just the beginning of a new evolution.